I tell them what they needed to do. I might even put them on like, hey, I ain't got time for this. Like, you want to do this job? Like, if they were young in business, man, they would just turn around and open their own stuff, like try to burn you up and then talk mad stuff about you. Like, but you know what happened to them dudes a year later, 2 years later?
They all fall through.
They're gone.
All right.
You're just chopping it up and going to make a video. Is that what you're doing?
Be long form. That's going to be the full thing. And I just might cut out the beginning. Maybe, probably not. It just depends on how it goes. So,
all good.
All right. So, Mariah's here. I'm Isaiah. It's good to see you guys. This is our first interview. We've done it like this or through Zoom. And today we're with Jared, who runs the media call in the reseller Nirvana group. And he's like a huge media seller, as well as like so many other things that I want to learn about today. So like my primary goal for today is to learn about cars, because I know nothing about cars. And like, you know everything about cars. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I know nothing. I can change my battery. I can change a tire. I can put oil in the car. I can change the oil on the car. Well, yeah. And a couple other things that are kind of cool too. I can get my keys out of the car too. So
I can put gas in
it. I'm basically a car professional. You should put me on the lot with you, Jared.
There we go. Well, you know a lot more than a lot of people do. So it's all good. I mean, you know all the basics, and that's what's important. That way you're not, you're not out at, at the mercy of every shop in town, clubbing your head in to do, the littlest thing.
Most definitely. So like, let's do a little bit of credentials first so that people can know who you are and like why they should listen to you about cars and eBay.
I'm honestly not sure that anybody should listen to me, but when it comes to cars, I've been a body shop owner since '99 is when I first opened.
I was born.
What? Oh boy. Oh man, these youngins out here. Like no, but 99 was when I opened my shop. By spring of 2000, I had this wild hair that I was going to quit my job. I worked at a hospital. I was going to quit my job and just basically go full time building custom cars, and, paint work and custom paint work and all this stuff. It was the worst idea ever, but I wouldn't change a thing, looking back to it. So
the worst idea ever. What happened? Like, what's wrong with building custom cars? It's the market.
No, I just had, I was young. I thought I knew everything, and I had no business opening a shop because, for one, I didn't know how to run a shop. I didn't, my skills at that time were like, I mean, I could make it happen. I could get it done, but it was not near up to par of what, when I look back today, I'm like, I had no business being there. Like, so, but that's just, I'm one of those people that believes, you just got to leap, and that's how you learn. And I made tons of mistakes and lost a lot of money, and, but I also gained a trade out of it. And I'm like, I'm not trying to like brag and say I'm some great car guy or anything, but I've gained a lot of respect in like the truck community. And, I was like one of those semi-famous truck builder guys for a long time. And, I kind of steered away from it because I don't really like all that. Like I'm one of those guys that kind of gets weirded out when, you go someplace and people know who you are and they want to come up and talk to you. Like, I kind of get a little weirded out about that. So, I kind of dipped back from the scene for a long time, but, that's one of the reasons I turned it into, our conversation has gone a lot of times into how I've got into like building ambulances and stuff now. And, to go from restoring cars and building full blown show vehicles and like restoration work on vehicles to go into ambulances, a lot of people are just like, what are you doing? Like, so, but that was kind of part of it. I don't want the, I don't know how to put it. I wouldn't say like fame of it, you know what I mean? But I just I'm one of those people that just wants to sit back, like a lot of people. I just want to sit back, do my work, make my money, and that's it. Stay out the way. Like that's what became super huge to me. And like, that's just kind of a little bit of my background, but like nowadays, I've for about the last 5 or 6 years, I've had a commercial account with I'm in Indiana, and Indiana's the largest ambulance provider. I like handle everything involved with an ambulance, like as far as like a collision, or they actually build ambulances in this facility too. So I could build an ambulance or paint one. Like
So,
it's
so let's talk about that for a second. So you come in, like, what makes an ambulance go from out there on the road saving lives to, inside your shop? Like, what usually happens as like a catalyst to get us there? And then what do you have to do?
people run into it.
Wait, people hit
People run into them. Like,
Really?
it's amazing. Like I don't know how you run into a vehicle with flashing lights and it's as big as it is, but it literally happens all the time. Like they get wrecked. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like you can't have a vehicle that's mashing out down the road, like to hurry up and try and go save somebody, and then you know what I mean, people don't get out the way and all that stuff. So they end up wrecked a lot. And they just get a lot of miles on them. So this company that I'm affiliated with, they'll take an ambulance and they'll run it till it's got 300,000 miles on it, and then we take it into the facility and actually take the ambulance box off the chassis and then put it onto a brand new chassis. That way the running gear, everything, it's like a brand new, because they're all like vans, like them cutaway vans where they got like no back on them. I don't know if you've seen one of those like apart, but it's basically like a frame and the front of a van, and they're like brand new. And then they take the ambulance box and set it onto the back of it, and then it bolts in, and then you wire the ambulance box to the chassis. So everything under it, as far as drivability, is all brand new. And then they basically restore the ambulance box, and you can do that 2 or 3 times on one of those boxes.
So if I'm correctly, again, I know nothing about cars, Jared. So when you said out chassis, and I was like,
yeah.
So the ambulance box is like the rectangle that people are inside of, right?
Yeah.
And does that include like the driver's seat and stuff like that too?
No.
So
that's the box itself is like an actual separate thing.
Yeah.
And then what we replace is like the frame and everything that the wheels and tires hook to, like your suspension, all that's brand new. The motor is brand new, like all that. And then basically it looks like a van, like somebody sawed in half, and it's got the 2 front seats and the steering wheel and everything's new. It's just, there's like nothing behind the driver's seat, like where these windows are, like there's literally nothing there. So that's where you basically set the ambulance down, bolt it all up, wire it all up, and then you make it a functional vehicle again. But
how long does it take to do something like that for
what's
you?
that?
How long does it take to, go from wrecked ambulance to, completely restored?
We've kind of got it to an art down there. Like we try to deal with the same, just like eBay, you try and do the same thing over and over again. Like it's funny how eBay can cross over into everything.
Everywhere.
It don't matter what it is. We try to stick to the same brand. We buy the same brand over and over because we have them to an art. Now, if it's one of them that it's the brand that we're used to, me and another guy that works in that facility, we can jump in there, and in about 65 hours, we can pull the entire back off one and put it on a brand new chassis and send it down the road. So
expecting 7 days, 65 hours.
Well, no, it's 2 people. We're talking total hours.
Yeah.
So so less than a week. It can come in on Monday, and at least by Friday it's out the door, and it's like a brand new rig. And with their maintenance program, they're good for about 300,000 miles. So it'll make money for well over a year and a half. It's about how long they last. So they wear them out quick. So it's kind of interesting work, but
so how many people are in your shop?
There's only about 5 people,
including you.
Yeah. There's only about 5, and then I'm actually, since I still have my own business, I'm kind of like subcontracted. So the other guys are really full time for the company, and then I'm kind of just subcontracted. So I come and go. I kind of I have the leisure where I can come and go, and that's what helps me work on my eBay business on, especially on Mondays when shipping's super heavy. A lot of times I won't even be at work on Monday if we have, like, if I had a crazy weekend of lots of sales. Like if I had, because it's kind of tough because, I like to go to car shows and all that because I still have trucks and all that. So we go to car shows and stuff on the weekends. So a lot of times if I don't get a chance to ship on the weekends, then my Monday can be pretty hectic, so.
And do you usually try to ship on your weekends so that you can be free on Monday, or what do you do on Saturdays and Sundays most of the time?
I try to ship, but a lot of times it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just need the break.
Yeah.
Because between running that business and trying to run eBay and, I'm shipping for eBay, I'm shipping for Amazon to try and deal with that stuff. Like, and then have, how it is. It's hard to have a life too, so, because I know you like to spend time with your wife. I like to spend time with Steph. Like, so it can be tough, you know how the balance is. It's tough sometimes.
So how long, well, that's not the question I was trying to ask you. Like, how do we get started on this journey, right? Like, because now you own it, you have your own shop. You said you went through a bunch of struggles to get there. But like you have your own shop, you're rocking and rolling. Like, how do we get here from, you said you started in 99. Like, how did you even get the know-how to start a shop or have the confidence to start a shop?
It was a mess.
I'm ready.
I'm one of the people, like, I'm a firm believer, we kind of talked a little bit before, how I grew up around cars and stuff. I'm a firm believer. If you can do something, I can do it.
Yeah. Like,
I'm just a firm believer in that. And that's how my dad was. So when I grew up around cars, like, he would pull the most random stuff apart. It didn't matter if it was stuff from the house. He was just one of them guys, like, you could have a lamp that wouldn't turn on and he could walk in and hit the button on the lamp and it'd work. And it's not. He would just pull it apart and be like, oh, this is what's wrong with it. And then put it back together and it worked for another 10 years. Like, he was just one of them guys. So I really subscribe to the fact that if somebody can put it together, I can take it apart and fix it. I 100% believe that. Like, my tape gun falls apart, like, believe me, I'm pulling it apart and I'm fixing it. Like, unless
get to work, so
yeah, unless something, like, if I find something broken in there that is not possibly can be fixed, I'm going to fix that tape gun. I'm just a believer in that. So I think that's how I ended up in business. And my dad owned his own businesses too. So I kind of, I kind of grew up around that. But the funny part about that too is my dad warned me to not go into business for myself. It was one of the weird things,
wow.
When he was, because my dad struggled in business, like, through his career.
Mm-hmm.
He was a police officer for a bunch of years here in our town. And then he ended up leaving the force and, like, back in the day had a CB business when CBs were hot, like CB radios. Like, those things were, like, super hot, like, in the 70s.
But so, I don't know what radio is.
It's a citizen band radio. You ever seen where the guys in the semis are talking on the little microphone thing?
Right here,
yeah, that's a CB. So it's like pre-cell phone, like, that's how people communicated in cars. So that stuff was super big in, like, the 70s. So he had a business for that. And then, like, he just, I don't know if he was just chasing trends is what it was. Like, exotic fish were real big. And like when CBs kind of started to slope off, he, like, got into, like, exotic fish. It was for me to look back on it, it's just like, I'm unsure what you were thinking. Like, I don't know if it was just kind of trend chasing or what it was, but the final business he owned was an auto parts store. And before, like, AutoZones and O'Reilly's were in our area, like, there was all the little private garages, where you could take your car to get them worked on. He actually owned a business where he supplied those guys before the AutoZones and everything were in town. So he, like, basically had all these people, like, he'd have these 10 businesses he would call every morning and be like, hey, what do you need? What do you got on your books? Like, you need this oil filter, you need this, all these random parts they need. And he would basically load them up in a van and he would distribute it, and they just called him a parts jobber, is what they called it back then. So he would go deliver all these parts to these people, and that was kind of his last. That was kind of like the last business he had. So I was always around this kind of random stuff, but he warned me. He was like, don't do your own business. You need to keep your job at the hospital. You need to have a good job with a retirement. If you have your own business, you're going to be broke your whole life. Like, and now in hindsight, I'm like, it's because you went from one thing to another, and it's just like we talk about in a group. It's chasing. I'm going to be a shoe seller, and then I'm going to sell shirts, and then I'm going to go from selling shirts. Oh man, they're making this money off this hats. Like, I'm going to be a hat seller. Like, and you never dial that one thing in. And I think that's what he was doing. So he was like, I guess preemptively warning me, like, don't do this. But I think that was just his experience. And, later on down the road, even though it was a really bad choice for me to, as young as I was, to open a business in cars, I learned so much and then built a trade out of it. And then I'm honestly, like, again, I'm not a bragging person. I don't like people to brag and try and, beat their chest like I'm making this money, but I make almost twice what a normal body man does now. So, and it's kind of the way I've done it. Like, there's nobody else in my town that is subcontracted and still gets entire body shop rate. Like, I make the same rate. Like, normal body shops are about $54 an hour. Like, when you go into them, 54, 56, depends what state you're in. Like, and I flag that by myself walking into somebody else's shop. So it's basically what everybody told me you couldn't do. I basically I worked on my trade and my niche long enough that I made myself good enough that I found the right person that had to pay me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I get you entirely. You said you started in 99. How old were you then?
Oh man. Well, hold on. Let me do the math. That's pretty bad. I was about 22 years old.
Oh, Terry, we're like right here. We're not that far from each other.
Yeah, I was right about 22, somewhere right in that area.
Yeah.
So, because I remember I had my 21st birthday and I was still working at the hospital at that time, and we were just kind of laying the groundwork. So you've made it to like the 2-decade club when it comes to being a business owner. You've had your own business for 2 years. I mean, not 2 years, for 2 decades. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I've done 2 stints away from my business. I always kept my business off to the side, like even the 2 times that I left. But I have done 2 stints away, and that was because I had really good job opportunities and thought that they were going to pan out to something, and it never did. Like, I just couldn't. I'm no good at working for other people. Like, I just can't do it. I need all the money. Like, it kills me if we're bringing in cars that they're flagging $60 an hour. I'm just like, I need that money. Like, it's hard. Like, so yeah, I did 2 stints away, and they were good experience jobs. Like, they helped me kind of level up, but I just couldn't stay at them. So
what were your weaknesses when you first started your business? Like, where were you struggling?
Man,
I mean, everywhere, but like, let's go piece by piece.
I mean, basically everything, but major things were finances, how to charge people, how not to feel guilty about charging people. That was a big thing I had. I always felt bad. Somebody come in and I knew that they didn't have a whole lot of money. It was hard for me to say, it's going to be $1,000 to repair this when I know they ain't got the 1,000. You know what I mean? So you end up helping a bunch of people out, and then in the end, it just kind of blows up in your face.
I have a scenario question for you, Jared. You ready? All right. So I have a guy who, I don't have a guy. My mom has a guy who does all the repair. I hope he never sees this video. I hope he doesn't see this video. But he does the repairs, like, for her. And, like, he like put my radiator in for like $80 or something like that. And like he like when I noticed that he's like severely undercharging for a lot of the stuff that he does, right? Like I'm certain you wouldn't put my radiator in for $80. Like you might, but I doubt it. I'm sorry, we're getting a whole bunch of notifications on my side. There we go. All right. Could you hear those notifications or
No.
okay. All right. And my sound was good when the notifications were going through?
Yeah.
Okay. So but yeah, he's charging like $80 to put in radiators, you know. He's fixing motors for like $100, $200, stuff like that. So like for him who's trying to build a business for himself and take care of his family and stuff, he's moved his family and everything from what he's already doing. But like, how would you advise someone in that similar situation to gain the confidence to, you know, start charging more and really, really getting what they're worth?
Man, that's a tough one. You're in a smaller town, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Kind of. It's not that small. It's like in my actual town, it's like maybe like 60,000 people, something like that.
Yeah.
But like in the overarching city, you know, I mean, it's close to 1 million. Like it's like a town connected to a town. You know what I mean?
Okay. You know, that's kind of a smaller area. It's a little smaller than I'm at. But the problem with stuff like that is if you don't have a business front, if you don't have a garage with a sign that people can walk into and see that you're an actual business, it's tough. But it's hard to charge people. I mean, because if you go into a normal shop, you're going to be anywhere from $100 to $150 an hour shop rate. So, and then they're going to charge you for fluids. They're going to charge you for hazmat stuff. They're going to charge you for all that. So I don't know what a radiator in that runs, but you know, just say the average radiator is 1.5 hours to do, you know, plus fluids, plus all that. So you're probably $200 by the time you get out the door. So if the guy is getting 80 and you bought everything, he's making good money.
Okay.
It's not like he's calling Uncle Sam and be like, hey bro, I just copped $80 off Isaiah, you know. And then, you know, earlier today I got, you know, another 50 off Mariah, you know what I mean? They're not calling Uncle Sam. So in the end scheme of things, he's probably making pretty good money.
Okay, yeah.
But if you want to be a real business, it's tough, man. You got to have a business front. Like you got to have a place for them to go. You know, it's like eBay. Yeah. You know, we're lucky because eBay is like our store people walk into. But even then, people need to be able to walk in. You got to have a store subscription. You know what I mean? They got to be able to go in there and see, you know, oh man, Isaiah got all the shoes. Like I can go through categories and like, man, he got men's, he got women's, he got all this. Like you're going to be less likely to try and beat that guy down that has the actual shoe store.
Yeah.
But if you're the mechanic that just rolls up and I'm going to do it in the parking lot, those dudes get beat up. You know what I mean? They get their prices beat up hard. And I dealt with that for a long time because my shop is dead in the hood. Like, I dealt with the lowest of low lives for years. Like, I mean, I dealt with great people too, but there was some straight low lives. And it becomes a point in your business. Like I had a lot of kickback because when I got tired of being the $80 guy, I raised my prices and I kept raising my prices. And there's literally a guy directly across the street that has a nicer shop than me, that has a nicer paint booth. He has nicer everything. And I was charging almost double what he would charge. Like, and people hated me for it. They literally hate me. They'd want to get a window regulator put in, like the piece that makes your window go up and down. They'd want to get a regulator put in. They'd go across the street and get it for $40-$50. Like if you're coming to my shop, it's $100. Like I'm not pulling your car in for less than $100.
So why is that? Like, why is it? Why I've always struggled with trying to answer this question of like, why should someone come to me and spend $100 when they can go down the street and get it for $50? So
because I did better work.
Huh?
I did better work and I knew it. Kind of like shoes. I clean my shoes better. I buy a higher quality shoe. I'm not buying the one that's beat all the way down. I'm not buying that. And then I'm going to clean it top notch. I'm going to make sure the laces are right. And I'm going to make sure my pictures are good. It's the same thing. It's worth more money. Now we struggle with that because of turnover rate on eBay. So it makes it a little different than a business. But it's a lot the same, because the problem my dude across the street had is the guy had all these people working for him. So Friday he had payroll to cut, and he had a lot of payroll to cut because of all these people. But it was a lot like tech warns us, you don't hire somebody to eliminate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't hire 2 people, bring them in, don't increase your listings, and then you just kick back and relax, and you're just up on the couch. You and Mariah's kick back watching Netflix.
Exactly.
Like while everybody else is doing the work. That's the worst thing you can do. But that was the mistake he was making.
Mm-hmm.
He hired everybody to eliminate himself, to where all he did was deal with phone calls and talk to customers. And it became basically he just rapped with customers all day. Like his buddies would show up,
and the quality of the repairs started to go down more and more and more.
Yeah, because he's just hiring people. You know what I mean? Like you're not getting top dollar, so you're not paying top dollar to these people. So you're not going to get the best techs there are. So that was always the difference. That's how I charged a lot more. And I had a lot of faithful customers that I had taken care of for years, but they felt comfortable to send their dad to me. You know what I mean? Like I may do work for some dope boy on a box Chevy on 28s. I may lift his car, put it on 28s, and candy paint it. But I did his work good enough where he would send his dad to me to get a radiator done.
Yeah.
Pop, I get calls all the time. Hey, bro, Pop's hit something with his bumper. Can you look at it? And he would just show up and be like, hey, man, I'm DeLorean's dad. Like, oh, cool. I got you. And I'd give him a fair price. Now I wouldn't give him the price he could get across the street.
Yeah.
But his paint wasn't going to fall off 6 months later either. Like he'd get top quality work. You know what I mean? Like I'd make sure the color match was right. I'd make sure it looked A1 and it looked just like it did pre-accident condition. That's what he got. So that's stuff like that is what made me realize I could charge more than other people. And the game's the same even on eBay. Like, in my early days of doing media, I got double what I'm getting for a lot of these CDs. Mm-hmm. Like I sell CD for $7 now, and I used to get $13.95 out that thing all day long. Mm-hmm. But I gave them the top quality pictures. I made sure it was in a fresh case before pictures. I made sure it was 100% resurfaced. You know what I mean? I had the right description. I worded it correctly. I spent time on it. So that was how I got more money. Now I give them the same good quality product, but I have to sell it cheaper because I need that turnover rate. Exactly. And that's kind of the way in all business. Just like my dude across the street, he needed that turnover rate really quick because he had bills to pay. He had labor to pay. He had all that stuff to pay. So, it's kind of like the same problem we fight. So I wasn't near as worried about my sell-through rate in my shop as he was. So I charged more money.
Higher.
You kind of cut out there for a second, bro. What'd you say?
That's because your margins were higher, right? Like you had much higher margins than he was having. So he might do a $50 job, but he only keeps $7 of those dollars. And so he has to go do another job. Otherwise he's out of luck. Yep.
And that was the problem he was fighting. And that's still kind of the same thing I do today. Like I charge a lot more than other people. Like now my eBay business is different, but we're talking, body shop kind of stuff. I mean, people laugh when I say what I charge for doing ambulances. Like if we have one of those boxes off a unit and I have to paint it, I get more than shops used to. Back when they used to send these things to certain body shops in town, I'm getting almost double what those body shops were getting. And I'm strictly charging labor. And these people are like, there's no way you're getting that kind of money. I'm like, I'll show you the invoice. That's what I'm getting. But I'm giving them top quality work.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I've always, on the car side, that's what I always prided myself in. So, but it's also can be, it was really damaging at first in my eBay business because I tried to do the same thing. You know, it's kind of like we talk about in the media call, you know, like catalog photos versus taking actual photos of an item. When in the very early media calls, and I was on there like, I don't want no stock photos. I'm not dealing with that. And then stock photos drive me crazy. Like you can listen to the old calls now and hear me saying that. And then there a while back, I switched to listing software. I'm using catalog photos. Like my catalog photos are actually like Amazon derived catalog photos. You know what I mean? It's probably totally against Amazon or eBay, the eBay rules, but I didn't understand in the beginning. People are still going to buy it. I can just drop the price a little bit. You can have a catalog photo, and people are going to buy it anyway. They don't care. So that it was really damaging to my eBay business at first. So, but it's just like anybody coming from one business and going to another. You know, you got to learn those things. You have to adjust. Of course, you guys don't have that. You guys don't have the luxury of being able to have some stock photos and some shoes.
Yeah, it don't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got another question for you. When it comes to like, I'm starting to learn, or I'm starting to believe that what determines how much, like the amount of money you make is determined by the skills you have, right? So like the more skills you have, the more money you can pull towards you. So I think like if someone wanted to like get on your crew, right, and like give themselves the ability to like have cash flow coming in so that they can build their eBay side hustle, like what would they need to do in order to make that happen so they can get that extra cash flow?
Do you mean get on my crew on the body side?
The body side.
To make money up to be able to get the side hustle going.
Exactly. Because you still got to pay the bills, right? Like it's so hard to hop into eBay or hop into any new business and go, all right, we're going to pay our bills first month. It normally doesn't work that way because you just don't have the knowledge or the skills. So I think that this could be a super interesting side hustle. And I have a lot of friends who are like making $750, $850 an hour. And you're talking like, oh, my guys, you know, the shop rate is $100 an hour. So like your guys have to be getting paid well if you guys are pulling in that much money. So like, how can someone go from Isaiah, who has lacking car skills, to, you know, a person who's a bit more experienced and can make some money in the body shop game?
The great thing about body shops, people don't want to do it. It's dirty. It's dusty. It's tough. It's hard work. Mm-hmm. Like you get a wrecked car and you're going to pull this thing back apart and put it back into respectable shape. That way it's safe for a family to go back down a road. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work. It's dirty. Like you're dealing with, you know, like when you get hit in the front, like they bust your radiator, you know, antifreeze is nasty. Like there's transmission coolers, so there's transmission fluid everywhere. Like batteries blow up. You got all this kind of stuff. So the actual body shop game is hurting bad right now because the young people don't want to do it. There's a huge market for people to get into the body shop game. Like the dude that used to be like kind of like my right hand man that handed me wrenches. Hey bro, get me this. Fix this little dent. Hey, I got this dent beat out. Can you sand this? Put a little bit of body filler in it, and you know, get it close, and then I'll finish it up. That dude right now works over in Illinois at a body shop. He's their primo guy, and he just did a little under 80,000 last year, and he was literally my wrench getter for, you know, back in the day when I was, you know, poor doing hood cars. Like you can literally go into a body shop, you know, as long as you have a good work ethic, you can go in there and be the car wash dude. If you show them you have good work ethic, you're going to start moving up the line, and you're going to keep moving up the line. Like, and that's how we did it. Even like when I did a stint away from my shop, I ran a dealership body shop. It was a multi-million-dollar body shop. We'd work on about 50 cars at one time. We had 10 techs. Like it was a huge place, 2 paint booths, 2 painters, 2 preppers. Like we were turning a ton of cars. And that was what we did, is we would bring people in and put them in a car wash bay. Wash that car, detail it. If you could do that, and you could actually do that for, say, 3 months, like you're not getting paid super, super well, but you've got a paycheck. If you could handle yourself well, you could deal with the other people and not just be somebody that waited for that paycheck and then went out on the weekends and did a bunch of wild stuff and then, went to jail and you missed Monday because you was in jail. If you wasn't that guy, like in about 6 months, you could be like an entry level body guy and go from probably, back then people were making, $10 an hour washing cars. They would be up to about 15 being entry level body guys. And then if you actually stayed with it and stayed with the entry level body guy spot for a while, they would basically keep moving you up on hourly rate. And then you wanted to, what your goal was to become a flat rate body man. And what that is when insurance comes in and they see Isaiah hit something with his fender and there's a dent in the door, there's a dent in the fender, and then maybe there's a dent on the back door because you kind of ran down the side of something. They're going to say, all right, we're going to put a new fender on that and we're paying the shop 4 hours. That pays 4 hours. Now we got a dent in the front door and we got a dent in the back door. I'm going to pay you 3 hours to fix the front door. I'm going to pay you 2 hours to fix the back door. So now we've got 5, we got 4, we got 9 hours. Now, if you know what you're doing, you can jump in there and do this job in about 3.5. You still get paid 9. That's how people make money in body work. The shop is still getting paid for 9 because that's what the insurance company's paying. But now Isaiah fixed the dents, put the fender on it, got it ready, sent it down to the paint guys, and you just made $9 9 hours worth of pay. And say you're at 18 at this point. Yeah. Now you just made 9 times 18 and you did it in 3.5. And then all you have to do when it comes back is put the headlight back in it. Tighten the bumper cover back up, do the final stuff because somebody else is painting it. You don't have to paint it. You don't have to do none of that. So you just fix the dents and put the fender on. So that's the goal in body work. And that's how people make a lot of money doing body work. I have multiple friends that do well they do well over $100,000 a year. I got a buddy in over Illinois. He makes about $170,000 a year working in a collision center. The dude is good.
With that, because you did a 9-hour job in 3 hours, that allows you to do 3 jobs in that same period of time. And each one didn't pay 9 hours to do it. So money adds up real quick. And that's a day's 1 day work. That's one day.
That's it. My dude that used to be my right-hand man, that's how he made almost 80 grand last year. And he makes like 20, I want to say he makes about $24 an hour over at this body shop. And he's there 40 hours. He don't work no more than 40 hours. And he can turn that kind of money out of making $24 an hour. And it's because of the hours. He consistently turns on an average, probably at least 60 hours out of a 40-hour work week, which really coincides with what we do on eBay.
Exactly. That's what
it's funny how it all works. If you can list, 10 pairs of shoes, but then you get, you keep niching down and, you're getting faster and faster at taking these pictures, faster at cleaning them, improve this efficiency here, improve this efficiency there. Now you're doing 20 listings and you're just multiplying money, like Tech always says. That's all we're trying to do. So, but that's how people get into the body shop game. And it really comes down to people got to be willing to do the grunt work.
Yep.
If you're willing to go into a shop and just be like, hey, I don't know nothing. I want to learn body work. I'm willing to be the dude that takes out the trash and washes cars. I'll show you I got that work ethic. I'll be here every day. I'm not going to be late. I'm going to be the first one to leave, the last one, or the first one to show up, the last one to leave. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going to be that dude for you, but I want to learn. And I used to tell people all the time, they'd be like, well, where do you want to be on money? What are you trying to do? I'm like, look, my whole thing was always, I want to be looking up the hill. Don't have me looking down the hill. I don't want to look down. Don't take advantage of me. Keep me climbing. I'll work hard for you. I'll do what needs to be done, but I want to look up the hill. And that's how me and the guys that own the ambulance company have got along so good over this past 5 years, is because they haven't sweated me anytime my rates went up. I mean, I give them a quality product. I'm constantly faster and faster than I used to be. So their equipment is down less time, which in turn puts more money in their pocket because their units aren't down. And it's just like, and Body Works the same way. Like if you can fix that wrecked car fast, the insurance company, it doesn't have Isaiah in a rental for a week. They have him in a rental for 4 days. Well, that's, say they're getting a deal and it's $35 a day for that rental. You just did it 3 days faster. You know what I mean? Like that's $105. We need that. If you got 30 cars in your shop and we're going to save $100 per person, you got 30 cars in your shop, that stuff adds up.
Exactly.
Like that's $3,000 a week. Like
what I love and hate, and by what I mean by hate is like, actually, I'm gonna say the whole sentence first. What I love and hate about this is like, there is no shortcut. Even when it comes to body work, there is no shortcut. And like every time I'm looking at business, everyone that's successful, they say that same thing. It's like, there is no, all right, today I'm about to make tens of thousands of dollars a month immediately, no experience, no skills, no this, no that. Like it doesn't work that way. You have to suffer for months and months and months. And then eventually on the other side of that suffering, you get somewhere, you get like the guy that you said that's doing 160K. You get like you that has been in business for over 20 years at this point. But like, you don't get there by, starting a new thing every time when the thing gets difficult. You got to like stick to it, which I love. I love that.
The new thing all the time is the worst thing you can ever do.
Have you seen that like during your journey? Have you seen that happen? Like, because around for 22 years, you've seen people come and go, right? Like
everybody come and go.
How does that work?
I remember when in my young days, like I remember, like I was one of the first people in my, you know how it is when you kind of got an age group. There's people in that certain age group you're around. Mm-hmm. I was the first one to have a shop. And then I remember everybody that come around talking about how easy it was. Oh man, you got it easy. Like, you're out here working for yourself, getting this money. Like, man, you just did this $10,000 job. Like, man, you're getting that bread. Like, bro, no. Everybody would tell me how easy it was. Man, I want to do that stuff. And then they would they get the game from you. Like, you'd game them up just because that's just naturally how people are. Good people want to help other people. You know what I mean? It's just like you like to help other people. Like, that's exactly why we do calls. That's exactly why you're giving the game on shoes to everybody in this group that can come in for 2 weeks, listen to every call and leave. You know what I mean? But you're still giving them the game because you want to help people. You want to see people do better. And it was the same thing when I was young in business. Like, I'd help them out. I'd tell them what they needed to do. I might even put them on like, hey, I ain't got time for this. Like, you want to do this job? Like, if they were young in business, man, they would just turn around and open their own stuff, like try to burn you up and then talk mad stuff about you. Like, but you know what happened to them dudes a year later, 2 years later?
They all fall through.
They're gone. Like, there's literally one of my big money makers for my shop, since I was a smaller shop in the scheme of things, because you got big dealers, huge multi-million-dollar, dealership body shops and all this stuff with, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment and all this. I could never compete with those guys. I was the small guy. You know what I mean? I was over in the hood, doing custom cars and candying cars and all that kind of stuff. Man, it was so, all those people, I got to where I would do a lot of used car work, and you would do it for the smaller car lots in town. So you kind of had to hang your pride on the wall. You know what I mean? Because they ain't gonna pay you $1,000 to do that job. It should be a stack, but they ain't trying to pay that.
Exactly.
Like, they need to make some money too. So we got 500. Can you make it happen? Like all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I started doing a lot of that kind of work because I could turn it over very quick. And then I had a couple of people working for me so we could turn tons of it. And I was servicing quite a few car lots in town. And it turned out it was kind of like, okay, I don't want $25 for this pair of shoes. I'll take 20 and my sell-through rate's going to be so good that
Mhm.
I can move these things fast. Like, and that's kind of the way that the business was working. So everybody kind of got hit. Everybody in the small shops kind of got hit to that. So they all wanted to start doing that stuff and doing that stuff and doing that stuff. And like they all just ran themselves broke. You know,
Mhm.
it's just like, it's so funny because anything I look back on, all I hear is tech.
Yeah.
I hear tech like, don't follow my model because it may not work for you. Like when he talks about the markdown sales and the coupons and all this, like maybe I'm doing, 30, 40% or whatever he's currently got his stuff set up.
Mhm.
But if I tell you 40% and you jump at it, you may bankrupt yourself.
Because it doesn't work. You can't do 40% when you buy it for 8, sell it for 20. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's what happened to all of these guys.
Mhm.
Like there was literally probably 15 small shops in my town that were all people trying to do the same hustle.
Mhm.
And there's literally probably 2 left that were the original people that were sitting there telling me how easy it was and how easy the money was, and you got to be making all this money. There's probably 2 of them left.
15 is not good odds.
Like it's funny, and you see it too because you've been around the group long enough. How many people you see come and go?
I've seen a lot of people come and go. A
Yeah.
lot. So,
Yeah.
and it's only been in the game for 2 years. And like, I've seen a lot of people come and go. A lot. So totally, without a doubt.
Imagine when you're 20 years in, how many you're going to have seen come and go.
I'm-
Like and be the same people that was like, man, Isaiah getting this easy money. He out here
Yep.
making all this bread, like getting it easy. Like it's those people. They're all gonna be gone. Like I look back, like every once in a while, I'll be watching YouTube at night, and it'll pop up one of Chris's old videos where it was like the Wednesday call,
Yep.
and like I'll look at it and I'm like, damn, I'm up on here. This is old call, and I'll see all these people, and I'll be like, oh, I forgot all about them. Like I ain't seen that dude. I ain't seen that dude in a year. Like I ain't seen that girl in 2 years. Like I'll see all these people on these old calls, and I'm like,
They're
man,
used every day, and then they're just poof, they're gone, completely
they're
gone.
They're gone.
So I don't want to keep you too long. So let me get one more for you for the road.
You're all right, bro. I'm chilling. I'm not gonna get nothing done tonight. So I mean, it is what it is. I bought another house, and I'm moving my eBay into this house. Is what I'm doing.
How did you? So this is what 22 years in the shop does for you get to buy a house. So how many properties do you own?
I'm currently 3. This will be number 3. Now I've owned a lot of properties in the past, and I used to buy like super cheap properties and flip them.
Yeah.
So that was kind of one of the odd side hustles I've done over the years. But I mean, I'm not talking nice houses at all. I'm talking about buying one that flooded. Like I bought one that, and it was funny because I rented the house at one time, and I lived in that house for about 2 years when I was super young. And the guy ended up calling me one day and was like, "Hey, you wouldn't be interested in that house, would you?" And I'm like, "Well, man, it was a little bitty house." I'm like, "Man, I don't know." And he's like, "Dude, I just want to get rid of it. I'm going through a divorce." He said, "And the renters I had in it, like they hit the water pipe, like they were stealing like the furnace and stuff. They were stealing it and hit the water pipe on their way out and just kept walking, like and flooded it. But it was on a concrete pad. So I'm just sitting there thinking, like, man, I could cut 12 inches of the drywall off at the bottom, make sure the house is dry, get a new main water piece put in it, throw a furnace in it, like, and you're kind of on your way." Well, I gave him 6,000 cash is what I gave him for this house. And standing tall, the house, and because properties are kind of cheap in my area, so to say $6,000 and like the place was worth 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a nice neighborhood, but it was a little bitty small house, so it's probably worth 50 standing tall. I gave him $6,000 for it. I went in, I cut the bottom of the drywall off, I made sure everything was dry. I made
Did
it
you
to where somebody could. What's that?
do all that yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I told you, bro. If you can do it, I can do it. And if a guy walks in with a hammer and he can do it, I can do it. I don't care. Like I live by that motto, like thoroughly. So I just basically went in, made sure everything was okay, cleaned up, where they stole the furnace. I cleaned it up and got it ready for somebody to be able to just drop one in it. I had the water line fixed. Like it had a brand new shut-off valve on it. Everything was there. Like any place that got wet, we cut the bottom of the drywall off, made sure all the studs were okay, cleaned the floor, took all the trash out of it. Anything that got water damage got removed. Cut the grass, clean the outside of the house, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then ended up selling it. And I'm trying to remember. I sold that for, I think it was 15,000, and I had this is probably, let me think. I'm trying to think on a time frame when this was. This is probably 2010. So I took 6,000, turned it into 15,000, but I got 15,000 plus a 5-year-old Chevy 1-ton dually Duramax. So the truck was worth probably about 30,000, but the truck was wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm plus. My math's bad right now. I'm plus $9,000. I probably had 500 in my cleanup.
Yeah.
So I'm probably plus 8,500. And I've got a truck. If I fix the wreck, I could probably wholesale it for 20,000. So I took the truck into my shop, fixed the wreck, and then sold it.
85. So 8,500, 9,000 or so into. I'm struggling with math too right now, Jared. I'm like,
I turned about 6,500 plus the parts I bought for the other truck. I turned probably, it's been a while now. I probably turned $8,000 into 30,000 probably.
Yeah.
Pretty easy and quick. Like I literally spent like 2 weekends in that house.
Seriously, you did all that in 2 weekends?
Yeah, because I went in 1 weekend and cleaned it all out. Like cut the drywall, knocked everything out, took it all out, got rid of all that crap. And we come back and like, I went a couple evenings and like did some like cut the grass, like edge the sidewalk, all that kind of stuff. And then came back, cleaned everything up, and then I was done with it. Like I literally didn't put one building material into that house. So, I mean, that's kind of how, that was what helped support my shop. You know what I mean? Was little side hustles like that. So.
Do you remember your first house? Or was that the first one that you ever bought? Not like the house where you like your first investment that you did. Do you remember the first one?
No, that one was probably my first one that I bought to like flip.
Were you scared at all, or you're ready to rock and roll the whole time?
You're always a little scared, but I like that feeling.
Yeah.
Like I like that feeling. Like, man, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like that's what motivates me. Because I'm like a lot of people. It's just like it ain't no different in eBay. When you start making some sales, you get some money in your pocket and you start relaxing. Like it's no different. Like I don't like that feeling. I like the feeling of, man, I don't know if I'll be able to pay this bill. Like that's the feeling I like. And that's what you'll notice about tech too. Tech likes that feeling too. You know what I mean? Because that's why he doesn't talk about his money. You know what I mean? That's why he still's like, I ain't buying no furniture for my house because I'll feel like I got money.
Yep.
Like he may have the nice house, but he ain't trying to furnish it like he's got everything. Like, it's funny because me and him will talk like a long time ago. We get talking. It's very similar backgrounds. You know what I mean? Like I grew up out in the country, but we didn't have money. Like we came from a hood, my mom's side of the family. Oh boy. Like they was something. Like I had cousins and I literally didn't even know that existed. And when I was young, I didn't understand it, but it was all because there was pieces of trash. And she was trying to be the one that broke the cycle. And then my dad was adopted. And when he was a kid, they were literally on the streets. His real dad was a drunk. Like, and his mom was off in the bars. Like, and my dad was the oldest of the kids. And they was eating out of trash cans. Like, we're looking for food so I can feed my brothers and sisters. Like, so when I grew up, like, we basically grew up with nothing. Like, my mom and dad broke the cycle and got us out of town, and they bought this house out in the country. And that was the whole reason to get that house in the country, was to get us the hell out of town. That way there was no family around. We couldn't be around no, pieces of shit. Like, try to blow your YouTube up with some profanity, but they were keeping us away from those type of people. And it basically took all of the money they had to be able to break that cycle. So when we grew up, we didn't have nothing. Like the car broke down, Dad fixed it. Like, we didn't go buy no new car. You ain't buying no new car. We ain't got that. Like, we're driving the hoopty. Like, the hoopty's getting fixed, and that's what we're riding. Like,
I love it so much, especially to see where you're at now. You know what I mean? Like, to go from literally nothing to like 22 years in the business.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, and I've made tons of mistakes, and I ain't rich by any means. Like, I ain't doing it like a lot of the people in the group are doing it. You know what I mean? Like, my eBay journey is essentially, it's a side hustle. Like, it's 100% side hustle. Now, if I went full bore at it, I'm working 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, whatever. Like, yes, it could turn money. Like, but the way it is right now, I don't make a whole lot of money off my stuff. You know what I mean?
But it's something that you enjoy doing.
That, and it's about building it and know that you can continue to build it.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't care if you make, just say you make $10,000. Like, if I can continue to make $10,000, and then I'm gonna make $11,000, and then eventually, say somebody makes 30,000 at work, and they're making 10,000 a year on eBay. If they can work their eBay slowly to where they're making 30,000 a year, now they're competing with their job. Like, if I keep up that slow climb, maybe I'll make a 35 on eBay. Maybe I'll make a 40 on eBay, and I'm still making 30. And maybe I get a little raise, and I'm making 31. Like, eventually, it doesn't make sense to go to work anymore.
Then you can start putting money in the bank too during that whole climb. And the position. Totally.
Yeah. And that's all I've done. You know what I mean? I've saved a little bit of money, and then tried to do stuff like, it's like buying that house. Like, just being able to have enough money saved up to be able to go say, hey, I got this house for $6,000, you interested in it, and be able to go cash him out, and then have enough money to be able to get a dumpster and, all the stuff you need to be able to do that. It's just being able to build that little bit of money up and be able to do something with it. And it's amazing, man, because I got buddies, like my best friend. Like, I just gave him some money to go buy him, because we go to car shows and stuff. Like, I just gave him money to basically buy him a car trailer to be able to take his show truck to shows. And and he got the whole speech. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna give you this money, but you're gonna take this money, and, like, I don't want payback for 6 months, but you're gonna take the little payments that you were gonna give me for the next 6 months, and you're gonna save them. And then you're going to take that little money, and you're going to go buy yourself something. Like, you're going to go buy a little wreck car, or you're going to buy a little, a decent little beater car that can be good for somebody at tax time. And you're going to clean that car up, and you're going to flip it, and you're going to make some money. Yeah. Like, we're not doing this no more. Like, better. Like, you can't be struggling to pay that light bill. Like, you're a grown man. You can't do that no more. Like, we gotta quit going to BW3s. You know what I mean? I threw that out there because I know you like BW3s. Like, we can't go to no Chick-fil-A. We can't go to no BW3s no more. Like,
Exactly.
we gotta get this bread saved up. Like, you need to have you. Like, I always get on him. I'm like, dude, you know, and I know buddies that ain't got, these dudes, these are great people. Like, and they got good jobs and they ain't got $2,000 in the bank. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They'll pay their little truck payments and pay their rent and all this stuff. Still don't own a house, but got a super nice truck. You know what I mean? And it just kills me. I'm just like, bro, you can't do this no more. Like, you need to get your truck paid down. Like, you need to set every dollar aside. You need to quit going out to BW3s on the weekends. You ain't doing that no more. Like, you got to save us money up. Like, if you got money, you can make money with it.
Yep.
But if you ain't got nothing, man, you can't make. You ain't got nothing but sell your time at that point.
And that's where those skills come. We were talking about earlier. You got to have the skill.
Yeah, and it don't matter if it's the skill of knowing what shoe to buy.
Yep.
Like, you know, what's funny is, I got homies that, 3, 4, 5 years ago, when I was going to book sales for doing Amazon FBA books, because I guess we didn't even get into that because we just been rapping. But
I know we've been talking about body shop the whole time.
Yeah, we've been talking about body shops, but I did FBA books for a long time, and I make $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and I literally would one weekend would go to the local book sale here at the library. The following weekend, there was 2 that were down south, like the next little towns out from my town. I would hit those 2. The third weekend, I would come back, and basically on my weekend, because I had to work, I had a shop to run, all that. I would spend the weekend listing all those books for FBA and then send them in. And then basically you had one weekend that I could go, enjoy myself or work on my truck, go cruise, go to a car show or whatever. And I was making $4,000 or $5,000 a month doing that. Like, and all these people that I'm friends with are like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you own a body shop. What are you doing going to library sales and buying all these stupid ass books and all this? Like, but now it's like my right hand dude, like, he's just like, man, like, I thought you was stupid with these CDs and stuff. Like, yeah, I was talking all the slick, you know what I mean? Like, but man, like, what can I do to make some extra money? And, I mean, now it's to the point to where, it's like, man, can you put me on to something? Like, so
it's the cycle. It's the same cycle. We're like, hey, can you put me on? Same thing.
It's the same thing that happened in the early body shop days. You know what I mean? Like, it was, can you put me on? And they make fun of you for, anytime you do something new. I'm sure you've dealt with it. Everybody's like, man.
Out at the shoe game, they thought, like I said, you have your teaching degree. Just go be a teacher. Just go be a teacher. What are you doing? And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And people still would tell me, like, huh, you sell shoes online? Like, the economy's going bad. So like, maybe, they always need teachers. You could even do teaching virtually now. So like, maybe do virtual teaching. I'm like, yeah, totally. We'll see. If we got to pull that card, we'll pull it. But right now we don't. So.
Yeah, that's what's in, and that's what's up, man. I think stuff like that is what gives you the confidence to keep going.
Yep.
And it always keeps me going, because it's just like eBay. It's like when we were putting in the new paint booth down at the ambulance facility, and there was basically, we tore the entire body shop out of it, so there was like no way I could even go in there and make $1 if I wanted to. You know what I mean? And I could see it in the eyes of the people that own that company, because they're like turbo rich. You know what I mean? They're making millies. Like, they're making them on top of each other. Like, their tax bill, like their tax dude comes to them like, bro, you need to spend about $3 million real quick. You know what I mean? Like, they got it like that. So they're in there like, man, you want to come in and work hourly for a little while, man, make you some money and all this. I'm like, no, I'm cool. They're like, well, what are you gonna do? How you gonna pay your bills? I'm like, because I'm smart enough, I save my money. I'm smart enough, the house I live in is paid for. Like, I'm within about, I think December, my shop is paid for. Like, I don't have a car payment. You know what I mean? I'm just like Tech. Like, that was the other thing I laugh about when I get talking with Tech. You know what I mean? I got like an 06 Honda Accord. Like, I'll ride that dude every day. Like,
Loser.
Yeah, I'll ride that Accord every day. Like, I'm cool with it. Like, I got other cars too, but like, as far as A to B and all that,
Yeah.
like, that car ain't breaking down. Like, I don't need to go buy a brand new car.
Mhm.
Like, and that's what's kept me be able to do stuff like, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't find an office space, and then my brother moved to Pensacola, and now I'm buying his old house. You know what I mean? Like, to have enough money to be able to go, well, you're buying a second house in Pensacola. How about I break you off this money, and then I can just buy your house. Like,
That
I
is
buy your house here in town. Like, I can just put my eBay stuff in it.
for
So,
you to buy another house, by the way, means you've made a lot of good decisions because a lot of people can't make that move. Like you
Yeah.
see, the thing, like a lot of like opportunity comes, and either we don't see it because we don't have the skills, we're not in the position, we don't got the mindset, whatever it is, but we don't see the opportunity, or we see the opportunity, but we don't have the means to seize it. You know what I mean? And like, not only did you see the opportunity, but you also had the ability to go, we're snatching it up. Let's go. That's
yeah.
amazing. I love
Yeah.
that.
And then, you know, and a lot of times it comes into luck too, because it's like this house. You know what I mean? There's a lot of luck involved with it too.
Yeah, of course.
It's my brother's old house.
Mm-hmm.
I had enough cash laying around to be able to go, here. How about you take this with you? Like, you're in town right now. Like, why don't you just take this pile of cash with you? Like, and then we'll finalize all the little details. Like, we know what it's worth. We know what you owe on it. Like, why don't you just take this little money, and then, you know, everything's cool with you. Like, I'll just pay it off. How about
Yeah.
that? Like, and then he's in town. Like, well,
Why
okay. Like, I guess I don't really need this house. And, you know, and I even threw in the thing. I'm like, I said, I'll even make it one better. I was like, your bedroom is in the basement of this house. How about I leave your bedroom here, so anytime you come in town, you got a spot. Like, how about you just pay it, just sell it to me for payoff. Like, take this little money, do it for payoff, and then anytime you come in town, you ain't even gotta get a hotel. You can just
Exactly.
come to the club. Like, I'll just make sure you still got a place to live. And he's just like, well, I guess. Like, so, yeah, I mean, I guess, it's like a lot of times it's no different eBay, man. Just be a little creative. Try and be good with your money. Don't go cop the new whip. Don't go buy the big house.
No, I'm getting a PT Cruiser collection, Jared. I have to. I want to get a PT Cruiser, Jared. Collection just to flex on people. Like just to flex. I feel like it's not right to not flex at all. Like you have to, like when you've been counted out for a long period of time, you got to do a little bit of flexing on them. And so like I just want to get like like everybody sees me in my little PT Cruiser and it's like, man, must be down bad. But you know what? One of these days, I'm like, oh, I have a collection of these. So my last question for you, Jared, is I'm in the 2-year club, right? Like I've been in business for 2 years. And I think the statistics say like 75% of businesses or something like that are out of business after 5 years. And then 5 years after that, 90% of businesses are gone, right? Out of business. And a lot of the people that you saw, I think you said 2 out of 15, right? So like, and that's through the 22 years. So in your opinion, how do you get to what's necessary to get to the 2-decade club as an entrepreneur?
Be good at your craft. Whatever your craft is, work on your skills. No different than eBay about being a good lister. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to be a shopper, but nobody wants to be a lister.
Exactly.
Be good at the craft. Like I think that's one of the big things. And don't spend stupid money.
Yeah.
Like that's what really set me apart in business. I never went and bought the crib. You know what I mean? Like I never went and bought the big house. Why everybody I knew was buying new trucks and I wanted a new truck real bad.
Mm-hmm.
I never went and spent that money. Like I made sure that I was setting my money back. Like, and there was times where there was nothing there. Don't get me wrong. Like, because I've been through everything from having business partners rob you to having the door kicked into my business and lose 40,000 in a night. Like I've been through all that. And then I've been all the way down to sick with cancer, you know what I mean? And like no insurance. Like I've been all the way through that. Like I've been through straight crazy up and downs. But the only reason I made it through all of it is because I was smart with my money. Like even if I had $10, I wasn't going to go spend it. Like I may have caught myself something to eat for two. You know what I mean? Put a couple dollars for the gas in the car, and then figured out what I could do with my remaining $5 or whatever I had left. What can I buy for $2 and flip it? Like, what can I do with this and flip it? Or like, in like the body shop world, I need to go buy materials to do the next car. Like, you just got to be looking for the next thing that makes you money. It's just like tech always tells us and preaches to us. We need to multiply money. And that's the big thing. Like, multiply your money, don't spend it on stupid stuff. That's why Tech makes as much money as he does, and he driving the 06 Accord like I'm driving. Like, he's driving the old reliable car and don't care and has no intentions on buying the Lambo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
We can call it right there, Jared. That was perfect. I love that. I really do.
Yep.
I appreciate you sitting down with me, talking for longer than both of us expected. We got into it on this. I don't know how long we've been, but it was great. I knew this was gonna be a good interview. I knew it.
Oh, yeah. So, and we can always do more, or we can chop it up and do another one or whatever. If we would
right, we got to talk about your whole media business. We got to talk about getting robbed for $40,000. We got so much going too.
Yeah, boys hit licks on me back in the day, so it's all good. We can talk about it sometime, man. It's always good to talk to you. So, because just like I've told you before, like, I come from Chris's original group, and I remember when you come in the group. So, you're like to the OGs of the group. You're like everybody's little brother. So I'm always happy to talk. Answer questions or anything. It's just like we talked earlier. All we want to do is help people.
Yep.
And I don't care if I got $10 in my name. All I want to do is help people. I want to help people get money. Because believe me, I give away a lot of it. Like I don't even care. I'm one of them people. Money don't make me. So when I see the dude out there panhandling, they always get it. Like I don't care if they're going to the liquor store. They're getting my money. Like I just want to help people. So no matter if it's on here or if it's in collision center business or we're just rapping on Zoom, man, I'm always around to help everybody. So I appreciate you, sitting down and talking.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it too. Little one that just heard what you said. When you see someone on the street panhandling, or like you see a homeless person that asks you for money, like give them the money, but also if you want to, that is, but also like ask them their names, because like you would be surprised at how invisible those people feel, like every single day, because people look at them and just walk away. Like they say they get ignored. So like when that happens to you over and over again, when people give you those looks over and over again, it makes you feel invisible. And like by being that one person that asks that person their name, like it makes them feel. I've done it several times. My wife and I have done it several times. It lights them up because it shows like you actually care. They exist. So definitely.
Yeah, you always got to ask them how they're doing, man.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what I always do. Like, man, how's your day going? Like, and even if they're down bad, I'm just like, man, hey, just try and have a good day, man. Yeah. Like, and they always ask me about, it's like money, and I always have the same answer. Look, bro, God gave it to me. He's giving it to you. Like, he gave it to me. I ain't got no reason to have it. I'm cool. I got a car. I got food in my stomach. Like, got a roof over my head. I don't need it. Like, so here, just take this money. Get yourself something to eat or whatever. You know what I mean? It's from God. So just do what you do. Like, so.
Thank you so much, Jared. I really appreciate this.
Yes, sir.